With hype and anticipation, Harbor released into Valorant, but that hype didn't last long as it quickly died down as players got the chance to truly use the agent and quickly find out how truly useless he was in the game. But the problem was, that was back in episode 5. Fast forward to today, patch after patch, we see consistent low and underwhelming performance from this agent, and the patch notes regarding Harbor and the history of Harbor is very thin. He was quite literally released and forgotten. Released in patch 5.08, initial impressions were that he might even be busted or overpowered due to the ability to stop bullets. His cove, a small little bubble that would block bullets, was something touted as overpowered. Would he be able to defuse or get free plants? Oh no, this is gonna break the game. I was even one of them, admittedly. But it ended up being terrible. People realized that during the playtesting phase, and then he was released underpowered and underwhelming.
What are our thoughts about Harbor? Dog shit, right?
What the f, bro? Why are you saying that?
Yeah, I can't say that?
What the f? That was what?
Oh, I was just saying what everyone was thinking.
A quick history actually shows us that starting from the release patch till today, he has consistently remained a D-tier bad agent with the lowest pick rate in Valorant across all ranks averaged out. As of recently, episode 6 act 2, he has a measly 45% win rate in Radiant, which is actually lower than episode 6 act 1 at 47%. My man is somehow getting worse as time goes on and continues to trend downwards. It's not that you won't ever see amazing plays from Harbor, or that you cannot win no matter what. I mean, you're watching some clips in the background, or better yet, this amazing YouTube video here shows how in professional play, Harbor used in a unique way can catch the enemies off guard. But I think this clip itself and the video itself further proves Harbor's weak point. You have to use him in a team coordinated way in the most unique way possible, while also simultaneously having a niche purpose. And in the end, no matter how we slice it, that's just not the vast majority of players. That's the top 0.000000001%. The core fundamental issue with Harbor is that he lacks consistency, and no matter how we chop it, the only consistency he even has is the consistent ability to be hot garbage. Though understanding why Harbor is bad does have some nuance, but isn't entirely difficult. Now, let me explain and then offer a rework idea, after which we will then get into a call with validated Radiants in order to get their opinion. So starting with C, his Cascade throws a wave of water, firing it forward, allowing you to cover a pretty small area in terms of stopping visual information. You can reuse it to stop at any moment, but considering you can only send it forward, it tends to reveal Harbor's position, and all you have to show for it is a tiny wall that slows people by a measly 30%, including yourself and your own teammates. It simply does not deter people from passing through it like a Viper wall would. It's not aggressive enough or daunting enough for the enemies to respect it. And by far, I think it's the weakest ability in his kit. Now, Q is Cove. That's the one where it throws a sphere, which is basically another vision blocking ability at a weaker level. This one creates a bubble that blocks bullets, which is obviously good in theory, but can be broken way too fast, leaving it to simply being an inconvenient smoke that is hard to place properly compared to Omen, Brim, or even Jet. Furthermore, a big issue with the bubble is once it's broken, it only has a short period after which, and then it drops, making it an ineffective smoke in general. Now E, which is his High Tide, is one of my favorites. I could be wrong about this, but I think it's the only decent ability that Harbor truly has. It can be thrown out relatively quickly and creates a massive wall that is actually super flexible to play with. It can be used in pretty awesome situations and blocks a ton of vision in a unique way. The 30% slow is basically a bonus on this one, but with that being said, it suffers from the same issue in which it also slows you and your team, which can hinder it. It can feel like throwing for your team, but in retrospect, it's still my favorite because it can be used in such a vast majority of situations and in unique circumstances. Last but not least, we have X, which is Reckoning. Well, let me be honest, I legit cannot remember the last time I even got hit by this trash ultimate. It's simply too easy to dodge, and even if you get hit, it's a 2-second concuss, making it very unreliable for your teammates to even follow up on. It's simply too sporadic. It is unreliable. Now, I know people will be raging in the comment, especially after the pro plays. I understand that the ultimate gives a lot of information. That's all good and dandy, but I'm talking about Harbor having a low pick rate, win rate across the board, literally a D tier from Iron to Radiant. The problem about it is that it is too unreliable, and you cannot tell me that amazing information is good for the average player. It's decent, but it's only the top tiers that can truly capitalize on his ultimate right now. So what can we do? Well, here are my thoughts on a rework and certain buffs that that can help my man out. Now, I am going to confirm these with Radiance after, and they will challenge some of it. Keep in mind, I am literally just thinking out of my head. I'm being imaginative, and it's mainly just theory talking, but I think I thought of stuff that are at least fun. But anyways, let's get into it. First, C, which is Cascade. I think you need to remove Cascade fully. I think he simply needs a different ability here. Maybe a flash, or even maybe a molly. Heck, even a waterway that allows his teammates to surf along it for a fast push, similar to a stim beacon would work from Brimstone. He needs some other utility in place of Cascade. At least I think it would make his agent more versatile and more capable across various different maps, as he will have more synergy with other agents in the game. Currently, he basically just has like 3 smokes if you really think about it, and they each do something different, like a slow or, you know, one blocks bullets. It's literally 3 abilities that block line of sight, and I think completely reworking Cascade would just go a long way. Next, we have Q, which is his Cove. This simply needs a few changes. I believe maybe increasing the health from 500 to 750 HP and allowing it to be quick casted using the right click. Now, I think this would make it really fun. It would allow him to change the tempo and pacing of gunfights more quickly and much more effectively. Now, the HP itself is an arbitrary number. That could be too high. I'm not a balance expert, but the idea is more so to allow Harbor to use it in a quicker and more engaging way. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Now, I've mentioned High Tide. I like High Tide the way it is. The only thing I would change is just completely remove the fact that he slows himself and his team. Make the slow effect only apply to the enemy team, and that would alone make Harbor a lot more viable right off of the bat. Now, X, which is his Reckoning, needs a rework in my opinion. A few ideas I have is 1, simply make the circles pop faster, make them come up so they're harder to dodge, or keep it the same but allow the concuss to last longer so it's more rewarding once you hit someone. My favorite idea though, now this one's me going a little bit crazy, would be to just have one large whirlpool in a smaller area that starts circling the area that you placed it and eventually pops to concuss the entire area. Think of it like a Killjoy meets Breach ult. Now, the reason I think this way is it just simplifies the ultimate, allows them to be more consistent along all the ranks, and allows you to take control as a controller a lot easier. It does make it a little less unique though, and it may not be my smartest idea. I just like the idea of a massive whirlpool covering an area, to be honest. Alright, so what do Radiants think? Also, 1 Ascendant slipped into this interview, so we have 1 Ascendant and 2 Radiants. Here are their thoughts about Harbor, and then their thoughts about my rework specifically. Thoughts on Harbor and his state since release?
W. Hella W.
Consistently lowest pick rate, lowest win rate since his release.
That's true, but people don't know how to play him. That's all. People are not used to him. What would you change? What would you change? I mean, like the bubble, you know, the bubble. I think that one should be. It's too weak.
Yeah, I have it down as raise it from 500 HP to 750 and allow a button to quick cast it so you can shift gunfights quickly.
Agreed. That would be great.
Thoughts on Harbor?
In my opinion, Harbor is like a really good agent. He has like really good utility when it comes to team play. The only problem with him is people not knowing how to play him right now, like at an early stage. He's really versatile because he has a lot of different ways to play.
Interesting. So an Ascendant just came in here and he said very similar, that word, that same phrase, that people don't know how to play him yet. That's interesting because that's the second time I heard it in a row.
A rework could definitely help him when it comes to like players learning how to play with him. I agree with that, but only on a certain scale. I feel like if you changed the cascade too much, like if you added like a whole new complex ability to it, which didn't keep the same thing as his old ability, like how they did with Yoru, for example, right? The clone keeps on going forward, like it keeps the same thing as the footsteps before. I agree with the health buff, like making it have more health. I don't necessarily agree with the alternate fire, the quick cast, because I feel like that would benefit him a bit too much. It would make fighting against him a bit too hard. I agree with that. That could work. Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. To be fair, I don't really see any downsides to it because Harbor's ult right now, as it is, it feels like it's more of an information ult than actual ult that your teammates can play off. It's really easy to dodge. I don't know.
It feels so unreliable.
Yeah, the only way, other than what you said, make it pop faster. The stuns go off faster. The only major problem I have with Harbor's wall is that it slows you and your teammates as well.
Thoughts on Harbor?
Shit on every map except Lotus. I mean, he's playable, I guess, if you're good, but he's not optimal. That was literally what I was thinking to say. If you think about Harbor's current abilities, all his abilities are literally smokes except the ult. The wall is pretty good, I guess, and the cascade is something special. You can use it to plant and shit, but like, I mean, the shield bubble. The shield bubble is pretty special. But the wall, like is it called Cascade?
Yeah, the one that just gets pushed forward and you can stop it whenever you want.
That one is like kind of useless unless in some situations. I guess that would work. I mean, it would be kind of a quality of life, kind of, but also a buff. I think the biggest issue with Harbor is, you know the Viper wall, right? And when the enemy goes through it, they get like vulnerable, they get low. But in the Harbor ult, if the enemies go through it, they get slowed. But the same thing happens to your teammates.
Yeah, the last guy said that too.
That's like if you put up a Viper wall and your teammate goes through it and he's 50 HP. Like, I don't understand how they think when they make that.
Now, what was amazing is that this was a small sample size. The Radiants and one Ascendant are only 3 people, yet they had a lot of common issues and common terminology and thought process. One is definitely make the ultimate pop faster, at least to make it a little bit more reliable and useful. Stop making the slows harm your own team is a huge one. And also my thought process and completely changing his wall into another ability wasn't a big hit. Maybe I went overboard there, but yo, you know what? I still like it, okay? Overall, he is also weaker and that he needs some sort of rework or at least tune-up. This was a consensus even across a small pool of people. I do think Riot really needs to focus some energy and resources to revive an otherwise hollow and quite useless agent across the board, statistically speaking. If you're a Harbor main, I didn't mean to diss you or anything, but I definitely think my man needs a helping hand from Riot.